What's going on, nerds? Mark here, back with a new tech video from noisypixel.net. Today we have a very interesting brand new keyboard to the market, and you can buy it now, and it is the Melgeek Cyber01. Just want to say thank you, Melgeek, for sending out this product. Now, I have never heard of this brand, and you can make fun of me if you want. It's completely new to me. This is going to be a magnetic switch keyboard, so we're going to be able to customize our actuation distance, which is something I usually have never been able to do. So we're excited to open this up. We're going to unbox and review it. Let's go. Plastic is unwrapped. Let's open it up. Kind of opens like this. And the first look inside, plastic sheath. I'm trying to do this on camera. It kind of just sits in there like this. Before we go over the part that everyone's here for, the keyboard, let's just see what else we have in here. We have an envelope. I'm going to take it. It's our warranty cards and our manuals. Probably the best part about this keyboard right now, let's see, we got the B stickers. Cannot go wrong with that. I also like how they don't have the word Melgeek on it. So unless you know what Melgeek is, you just think it's a cute B. So that's a nice little sticker that they provided. Manual. Let's just make sure we're not missing anything in the box. Oh, we are missing something in the box. See, we always got to check. We got a key removal tool. And they also have the wire loose in there. It's going to be a braided USB-C cable, looks like. Damn, everything's wrapped so aggressively. Probably about a 2-meter cable. Standard 6 feet length, 6 feet 7 inches. And they do give you actually this little bag here, which looks like, let me open it up. Looks like they provide you with some extra switches or replacement switches. I have to see if these are different switches than what's in there. But we got these aqua looking type switches. Very nice looking. Nice little bag too. They have like this branded bag. It's just little things like that. Kind of makes the unboxing process a little bit more tailored. Makes you feel like a little bit more connected to your brand that you purchased in. All right, the moment we all have been waiting for. Let's unwrap this sheath here and give a first look to the brand new keyboard on the market, the Cyber01 from Melgeek. And here it is. Let's get it in the light. Try to, at least. It's kind of hard doing it over here. Okay, very sleek looking modern keyboard, very cyber, very futuristic looking, and it's got a lot of stylization. As you can see, like almost every key has a very unique font that we really don't see too often. This bold, very blocky font kind of stands out immediately to me. And we see also like a lot of specific design and graphics here that we really haven't seen either, like whatever this RT button is. I can't think right now what that could be. And like even like the shift key has uploading with the percent bar on it. Everything kind of has, like the escape key has these infection things, so it's definitely tailored towards the gamer. And with all these kind of confusing keys, to a normal user at least it would be confusing, but for a gamer, I mean for someone who's on the computer all the time, this is very interesting looking, and honestly it does not go unnoticed. I kind of like to see how original they can get with their product. Keyboards have been around for so long. I think we all know where the shift key is. So kudos to Melgeek for really styling a product unique to their own. This is definitely the most unique keyboard I have ever held in my hands or even seen in person. These are rigid design at the top here. You can see that. It looks like I have to turn it on, but we have this like LED kind of indicator up here. USB-C port is on the top left. If you look at the back, you got some rubber feet, 4 of them. And it's going to be hard to see in this angle. The keys are actually transparent, or at least to some degree they're transparent, so you can see the switches from the side. Sometimes things that are transparent or translucent seem a little cheap or inexpensive, but really this does not give me that vibe. It looks like a more premium plastic, very shiny, kind of reflects the light very nicely. Not many bad things to say about that. We're going to do a little sound test on the mic here. I'm clicking quite hard, so it could even be quieter than that, but this is about how loud it's going to get, you know? And very solid feeling, kind of sounds plasticky, but in a thicker way. It sounds a little muted. The more I make content and live content and things like of that nature, the more I want my keyboard to actually be quiet so I can type on stream. So something like this might be really handy for a heavy gamer and a streamer. But it looks like there's also lights underneath that might shine outward. But overall, unboxing first impressions, very nice. I would probably buy this just on the look alone. When it comes to gamers, and especially because this is an expensive keyboard, around $150, 160 USD, no one's just gonna go out and pick this up just based on the look. It is pricey, so we really have to see if the whole selling point of this keyboard is worth the money. So that being said, this has been Mark from Noisy Pixel Guys. Thank you for clicking on a new tech video, and let's dive into the review of the Melgeek Cyber01. Stick around.
I haven't heard of it before, but now we all have. The Melgeek Cyber01 keyboard is brand new to the brand's lineup of gaming hardware. If you're unfamiliar, this device specializes specifically in excelling in gaming performance, particularly in actuation speeds through its magnetic key switches. Magnetic keyboards allow the user to customize actuation points to tailor their experience and reaction times. Although the magnetic feature works well worth the price of this device at $159.99, with sales even seen at $139.99, the keyboard seems to have made trade-offs in other areas. There is some other charm to the Melgeek Cyber01 that we will discuss later, but to stay attentive, the primary reason you would purchase this product is for its excellence in magnetic switch performance. After downloading Melgeek's Hive software, you can begin taking advantage of the selling points of the Cyber01. You can change your RGB, rapid trigger, macro functions, and dynamic key settings here, but let's focus on the magnetic keys. I have personally never used the magnetic keyboard with customizable keys to this level, and my initial thoughts were, how different can this system really be from a normal mechanical keyboard? And I was certainly wrong for sure, as the pure level of sensitivity you can achieve out of this Cyber01 is impressive. The Melgeek Cyber01 is completely priced as one of the cheapest magnetic keyboards I can find, while offering a perfected system down to a sweet spot of 0.1mm actuation distance. This little distance makes it so the slightest touch of the keys sets it off, thus making this level of speed great for spammers confident with their fingers. For those who have twitchy hands and more sensory movement, you can find the distance that suits your brain the most, but 0.1mm probably won't be it. For someone like myself, I like to rest my hands on the keys with a slight amount of force, but this will set off the keys if programmed to 0.1mm. You can even make the actuation distance extremely low for those who want to hit each key with force, leaving less room for mistakes. I ran a comparative test between 0.1mm, 1mm, and 2mm, changing the settings in Melgeek Hive, as you can see, and I tried it on League of Legends, where if I lined up the cameras and the key presses, even like shaking my finger over the keys is really sensitive on the 0.1, and even the 1mm a little bit. You could still press the key down without activating the spells on the 1mm, but the 0.1mm is actually fierce, where any small touch will set off the spell. And on the 2mm screen, I can even press the key almost halfway down and nothing will set off. And in this diagram, you'll see when I match up the shots between 0.1 and 1, I still definitely get my spell out a lot faster on the 0.1mm. Granted, as long as I'm not accidentally casting my spells by touching the keyboard, you will see increased times on the quicker actuation. But to each their own, you have to program and see what works best for you. There are going to be a lot more diminishing returns after 1mm. That's why I don't really have the 2mm on screen, where it was really hard to see a big difference between those speeds. But then after 2mm, if you go down to 3, it's like a big difference. You start to get the returns again, where you have to press the key like all the way down to even get it to react. In the Melgeek Hive, other than changing your hardware settings, you can also test keystrokes and mouse polling via the Tools panel. Side note about the Tools panel keystroke tester, they have very loud piano noises as you press keys, which scared me tremendously. Although you can turn these noises off, be prepared to be startled if your volume is cranked. The RGB delivery of the Melgeek Cyber01 is stellar, allowing the user to customize the sweet looking border and body lights. Not to mention, the colors truly pop, with hue, saturation, and brightness showing a little love and care went into this feature. You can also change individual key lights to make your own original look, or to highlight your favorite keys with contrasting tones. I wanted to save this for further into the review, but being we are on the topic of RGB, must I say that the biggest downfall of this device is the lack of backlit RGB keys. There is absolutely no illumination or transparency to the green letters painted on the keys, so typing at night is a nightmare. Melgeek really wasn't kidding when they said this device is for gamers, because those gaming have no need to really look down at the keyboard. Rapid trigger is for those who love to rapidly spam keys, which this keyboard happily offers, providing less effort to actuate keys over and over again. This is beneficial to fighting games in particular to get your combo off a little easier. I don't see too much of a difference here personally, and find way more practical use out of simply changing actuation distance, but to each their own. At this time, keyboard profiles are in development by Melgeek, so until I can make presets for different games or situations, I will leave Rapid Trigger off. The Melgeek Cyber01 offers quite the unique take on styling with one-of-a-kind key imprints. These images creatively consist of a skull for the end key, or use common sense keys like Shift for a digital upload graphic. The escape key even has an infected symbol. I do appreciate the design decisions as a designer myself, but for something like a keyboard with an uncommon layout, I found the design to be a bit confusing in some areas, where in other areas it does work, leaving me to double check the user manual to feed my memory. Anyway, the Melgeek Cyber01 does live up to originality everywhere you look across the front and back, with interesting cuts, grooves, beveling, and the use of depth and more. It definitely shows that the developers of this product cares about visual presentation apart from the norm, which is a benefit to me overall. The keyboard, although primarily made of plastic, does not feel cheap or poorly put together. The overall structure of the aluminum face integrates well with material around it, leaving durability where the Cyber01 needs. The keys feel a little spongy from what I am used to, being that this is a magnetic switch build, but it did grow on me after using it for an hour or two. These keys still maintain some level of tactile feedback. The Cyber01 is very satisfying to type with nicely sized keys and spacing between for fast input with less errors. Next, Melgeek sneaks in a debossed logo at the top left of the board, and I am for the movement of discrete logo placement, rather than loud branding. You should be able to look at a product and know who makes it without seeing a logo, and Melgeek does well in this category. Lastly, the keys are transparent, yet tinted throughout the sides, with more of an opaque face. They do look stylish nonetheless, as transparency sometimes screams cheaply made, but you don't get that vibe with the Melgeek Cyber01. Some other talking points to close out the review. A downfall of the Melgeek Cyber01 and other magnetic keyboards is to say goodbye to heavy-hitting computer speakers on or close by your desk, because this device recommends loud sounds and sound waves at least 30 centimeters away. Although most of us use headsets, those who like speakers can enjoy this device. Next, the Melgeek Cyber01 luckily has no built-in cable for easier travel, and if a 2-meter wire breaks, you aren't out of luck. It's the little things that matter. Speaking of, the user manual is also very simple and easy to understand, helping inform the user as to what features are available through dynamic keystrokes and what the image keys mean. Referring to the USB-C cable above, this device is only wired, so keep that in mind when making your purchase. Next to the USB-C cable connector, you will see an RGB strip that acts as an indicator light for caps lock. At first I thought they did not provide a visual aid for this toggle, but luckily I was wrong, as this was a much needed discovery. If you are someone who likes to use an adjacent wrist rest with your keyboard, something that might annoy you about the Cyber01's design is a jetting edge in the front, making adjacent objects sit lopsided. Little things like this will irritate me enough to make a stink out of it. Lastly, they give you different switches with a more clicky tactile feel, but they don't provide a switch removal tool. Rather strange, but I digress. The Melgeek Cyber01 is definitely worth looking at, as it strives to make magnetic keyboards a bit more affordable, while still providing a sense of original design and practicality. The usefulness of magnetic key switches is really for anyone that gives it a try, as you never know how much speed you are missing out on, and your gameplay skills can improve with hardware of this kind. It might sound weird, but despite all of the positive notes the Cyber01 has to offer, it remains extremely hard to recommend to anyone who isn't gaming exclusively with their time on the computer. Why, you may ask? Well, the Melgeek Cyber01 has no keyboard backlighting. It is so difficult to use this product at night unless you are fully accustomed to not looking at the keyboard to type. I don't need to look to type successfully all the time, but I'm not perfect, and I have to squint even with my monitor's ambient light to see the keyboard. A major miss for most people, as I would imagine most others feel the same way about keyboards with no backlighting. This is probably the biggest negative about this product, so Noisy Pixel is giving the Melgeek Cyber01 gaming keyboard a B. I want to rank this higher, but I simply cannot get over how specifically tailored this product is to only gaming, as if gamers don't ever need to type or see the keyboard at night. It lacks common sense with a product at this price, and it seems Melgeek made too many trade-offs when managing the manufacturing costs of this low-key gaming tech gem. Cool brand, cool product, but a miss in the practicality realm in relation to the product's price point. I would spend a little more and find something with backlighting. Thank you for watching. Noisy Pixel is a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all of our future content. See ya, nerds.
Noisy Pixel.